Hello, Star Lovelies. It's a great time to be a soul. Today we're talking about Happy New Moon November 1st. It's a Friday, which means that it is a Venus day, and it is a 9-degree new moon in Scorpio, and the 9 is the culmination. It's the, that beginning and the ending. It's that harvest. It's that time to really appreciate the bounty of all the seeds that you've planted. But the most important thing about this new moon, it's just fascinating. It's a kite shape. And so that's the predominant energy. Of course, there's other star configurations, but the predominant energy has a kite. So, you can picture a kite, right? So you have that spine in the middle. We're going to talk about that because that's the most important thing. And then it has one triangle that's larger than another triangle. And so we have these two beautiful triangles supporting, and it's not the magic triangle that's coming to fruition this year and all the way through 2028. It's two different triangles. So when I'm looking at this energy, I'm talking about the magic of 3 triangles, and that rolls up to that 9 too. That 3 is wholeness, that 9 is wholeness. This is a creation cycle, and one of the triangles is the triangle of truth, and the other triangle is the triangle of power. And so we have those, and at the spine, it's that energy between Mars and Pluto. It's that dancing energy. And Mars and Pluto dance all the time. The big deal this year is that Mars and Pluto has never danced in the degree of Aquarius in any one of our lives, right? Because it would have done that 250x years ago. And so here we are. This is the new energy that was born on Valentine's Day this year. So when I talked about the power in action that was happening for your future, for the new era, for doing things that are very much in tune with your inner voice, your inner guidance, your inner direction, as well as being out in the world and that very big, filled with soul potential and clearing to the edges of your success, this new moon is another initiation of that. And when I talked about it at the beginning of the year, I had mentioned that, and I really hit this in the spring, but I had mentioned that we are going to know at this time if you are going in the right direction for you. And how you'll know this is you will be meeting people that seems very serendipitous. Things will be coming together. Now, it's not going to be an either or scenario. This is Plutonian. This is Scorpion. This is Martial. The other reason why this is such a big deal is because those are the rulers of Scorpio. And so this energy is like, just locking together. And so I'm going to get to the sun and moon in a minute. Normally, I would talk about them first. But in this scenario, this spine, and whenever you have a kite energy in astrology, it's the spine that you want to navigate. So this spine is between Mars in Cancer and Pluto at that last degree of Capricorn, because Pluto has been dancing between Aquarius and Capricorn since March of 2023. So it's been a year and a half. And on the 19th of this month, Pluto is going to go finally into Aquarius, where that energy is continuing for 20 years. There won't be any step back into Capricorn at that point. So what is the opportunity here? We have Mars at 29 degrees. We have Pluto at 29 degrees. If you've been hanging around me for a little bit, you know that I always talk about those super cuspy energy, 28.5 degrees, 29 degrees, 0 degrees, maybe even 1 degree. I will say, wow, those are so incredibly intense energy. So we have Pluto with the last breath in Capricorn. There's that last destruction of things that are very hierarchical, very institutional, very dialed in, very systematized, really things that you've been counting on. Those conventional structures that you're like, guess what? That works beautifully. And Pluto's come along for the last 15 years and kind of slapped everybody silly saying, yes, what you thought was really great and intentional and for whatever it is, their goals, their mission, their vision, their values, they're out of alignment. If they're out of alignment, there's been crumbling, there's been fraying, there's been destruction. And so this is that last breath of that. And with the spinal pull with Mars in Cancer, This is very much an energy of how are you at home with yourself, right? So we've got this, it's a work-life balance thing. If you want to think of it more traditionally, you want to kind of think of it like, oh, on the surface level, it's like, okay, who am I out in the world? There's Pluto saying, yeah, who are you out in the world? Is that aligned? Does that have integrity with, are you completely in lockstep with who you are when no one's looking? Another word for this is integrity, but it's deeper than that because it's not just, gee, I'm going to do the right thing even though no one's looking. It's, gee, I'm going to live to my fullest soul potential regardless of who is looking or if anybody is. Yeah, this is that. So it's a big energy. The beautiful thing is so much support is in this new moon. Not only do we have the new moon kissing at 9 degrees in Scorpio, so there's that 9, it's the 9th day of Scorpio. It is that, gee, I've come out into the energy. I've gotten my vibes with it. I've navigated it for myself and I've navigated it with other people. And I can be deeply intimate with the intensity of this power, the magic of the intuition, the soul drenching, vibration of Scorpio. And with a 9, it's like, wow, I've gotten to a certain point here and I'm ready to celebrate it and I'm ready to really own it and integrate it fully into my life. And then I'll be able to step to the next 9 degrees to be able to do it even more. So that's what the sun and moon energy is. Super supported by Saturn, as a matter of fact. Saturn gives us that determination, the focus, the fortitude, the strive, roll up your sleeves and dive in. You've got this. Think of it like as your tenacity buddy. And then you've got an unbelievably supported energy between Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. They're all in water signs. There's a beautiful harmony here. When we're in a harmonious energy, we are in the same element. That's just true of anything in astrology. So when somebody says, ooh, it's a trine or it's in harmony or it's smoothing it out, super supportive, it's in the same element. In this case, it's water. Water is so incredibly feminine, powerful, lunar, restorative, regenerating, just filling you with vitality, filling you up to be satisfied and really seeking your passion and your pleasure. This is a feminine energy. We are talking about those softer qualities, but this is not a softer energy. All feminine isn't soft. It's very deep and very rich and very intense. There is an intimacy in the energy that you can really, with Mercury, with your thoughts, you can unbelievably connect your intuition with your mind right now. With Neptune in its own sign of Pisces, you are incredibly creative, so creative that you have the ability to create what you think. So thoughts become things in this configuration. Then you have Mars in Cancer. What are you wanting to be courageous about? Bold, brave, adventurous, joy-seeking, taking that leap of faith, rolling up your sleeves, diving in, not looking where you're going, jumping off the edge, if you will. All those things are true when we're talking about Mars. In Cancer, it's all about you feeling at home with yourself. How are you taking care of yourself? How are you, stepping into your self-confidence and your self-assuredness? How are you loving yourself? And notice how I'm turning it internally. That's a water energy. We start internal first, and then we go out into the world. That's what we do with the feminine energies. That's what's different about them than the other energies of air and fire. So when you're looking at a fire energy or you're looking at an air energy, you're looking outward. When you're looking at a water energy, you're looking at an earth energy, you're looking inward first. And so we want to look inward because think about this. When you come into wholeness, whether it's in anything, whether it's in a business transaction, whether it's in even shopping or having a very casual conversation with someone that you've just met, when you are completely centered, grounded, balanced, aligned, whatever word you want to use, you come into it and with a much more present energy, you are available to the situation. So it could be an amazing opportunity presenting itself, or it could be support presenting itself, or it could be your moment to be in that advice giving or in that beautiful empathetic listening position. And you can be super present with that. You can be super present when you are in the flow of your life because you're like, I'm groovy, I'm good. I wonder what's going to be happening right now. I don't know. And here's this opportunity of a new moon. And when we look at the calendar from a feminine expression and we look at the calendar from an new era perspective, this is where we want to be thinking about the ancient wisdom. How were things done before clocks were created, before calendars were printed, right? We followed the sun and the moon because we didn't have any other mechanism to measure time. So think of the sundial, think of the sextant when we're thinking about where we are in the stars. Think about looking at things about the position of where the sun is in the sky or where the moon is in the sky. Think about that. And then think about drawing upon that power of the stars, looking at these two luminaries with the sun and the moon, and realize wow, we were most likely tracking based on equinox and solstice, and we were most likely tracking based on where the moon was, whether it was new or first quarter, full second quarter, it's technically called third quarter, but or then back to waning crescent, back to new. We were planting by this. We were very much running the entire world based on these energies. And now's the time to appreciate that because the veil is most thin at this time. So as we come and have, welcome the end of October, and we're then heralding the welcoming of November, here we are on the first day of that Wiccan ancient calendar year of November 1st. And since then, we've adopted some pagan holidays, and we've adopted some commercial ones, and we've adopted some religious ones. And at this time, this is a very rich, fruitful energy, and it really crosses all cultures and really all timelines when you do some historical view of what November 1st was all about. So for me, it's marking off the season of potential. Because we're entering a very yin energy. We have this water energy of Scorpio. We have if we're in the northern hemisphere, we have the water energy of winter. We have an earthly energy coming up, very feminine energies. And so even if we're in the southern hemisphere, we're still in the sign of Scorpio. We're still at the solstice entering Capricorn. It's a very strategic time. And people often think of strategy as masculine. It is 100% not. It is 100% feminine. When you are looking at something from a 30,000 foot view and you are doing it with equanimity and objectivity, and you are then dropping into what your big dreams are and what your vision is, that is yin. When you then go and become purposeful about it and you set some, and not even that's just the intentions and the themes, but you get beyond that. You set your goals, you set your projections. That's masculine. That's way after. We start with the feminine. And this is why we start with the feminine when we're looking at the new era energy, because this is the energy. Doesn't mean that one energy is better than the other. It just means that for so long, we've been starting with masculine forward when we should have been starting with feminine forward. They're both incredibly important. It's just where we begin. So you begin with that beautiful feminine energy, you go to the edges, then you come back to the masculine energy, you fill yourself up, you then go back to the feminine energy, go to the edges again, and you come back to the masculine and fill yourself up. And so when you're looking at this, you're like, whoa, that is really amazing that we have the opportunity to shift how we're stepping into life. Think about this. If you're going to start your week, for example, and you start it by taking a step back, and you really get yourself ready, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically for the week, you're going to have an infinitely better week than if you just dive in and start answering those emails. This is that. This is an example of what this energy is doing. And so it's filled with power. It is filled with magic. It is filled with truth. So there are going to be revelations that come during this new moon time. And it just so happens to coincide with an ancient calendar new year and a start of a month. And so we are in a very fruitful time. There's going to be tremendous growth right now. So how can we get and take advantage of the growth in this new moon? Well, first of all, we can realize that we're going to be going deeply inward. We are going to be opening up to our intuitive conversation. So think about that. I'm going to have a conversation with my intuition. How would we want to do that? Let's walk through those intuitive success signatures. Now, I'll be honest with you. My intention was to keep the same exact tips that I had for the month as I was going to do for this new moon, because we're on the same day and I don't want to be confusing about that. No, that's not. It's when my mind thinks something, it's often wrong. So intuitively, it's let's open up. We can realize those tips for the month when we open up to our intuition. So I'm going to be doing intuition tips for each one of the intuitive signatures, and then we'll drop into meditation. So if you have not taken that 12-question quiz yet, at your starmaptosuccess.com to find out whether you're a wise strategist or an intuitive visionary or collaborative explorer or ruling warrior or creative superstar or loving alchemist, go ahead to your starmaptosuccess.com, take the quiz and come back. You're really going to want to do this because this is a power positioning for you. And for now and basically for forever, it's going to always start with you and your internal direction and your internal guidance. So let's talk about the wise strategist. The wise strategist is a very earthy energy. So for you, the water doesn't feel bad because, you can think of yourself like, beautiful rocks in a riverbed, right? And that water just flows over you and it smooths things out for you. So for you to be thinking about nature and how you connect with it, really great for tapping into your intuition. For you, intuitive visionary, the water energy, you're very airy, you like to flow. So the water energy helps you think about the flow of air that's super speedy and fast. That's you. That's the way you like to flow. But then think about water. Water isn't static, right? When you think about that same riverbed or that brook, or you think about the ocean waves, you need to be in moving water. You can be in very stormy water if you want, or you can be in fog, right? Like that doesn't move that much, but it still moves. So when you are feeling amazingly connected to your intuition, go with it. If you're not, dance with water, literally. Like you can literally take a bath, you can take a shower, you can put your hands in water. That will help you get in tune with your energy because you're giving your chance for your body to catch up to your mind. For you, collaborative explorer, it's all about the antennas of connection. So instead of connecting to other people, take moments every single day and connect with things in your world. What does that mean? That means not connecting with other people. So that means taking a walk by yourself. That means standing at the sink and just taking 3 breaths. That means when you're working out, maybe not listening to a podcast or listening to even music, unless the music is super soothing. Because for you, you are so cyclic. It's so stunning and beautiful. But sometimes you churn so cyclically that you can't really grasp yourself in the moment. And your intuitive knowing is all about you. For you, ruling warrior, okay, bottom line it. Pull an oracle card. Absolutely pull an oracle card from a deck that you like. And when you get that word or that image or that message, talk to it. Literally say, I wonder what this means for me today. And then see what comes up for you. For you, creative superstar, you are going to want to balance the creativity in this water cycle because there is tremendous creation here. So for you, I would set the intention of what am I creating? And I would say it every single morning this month and then see how that directs your intuitive connection. And then for you, loving alchemist, you are just dripping with this. You adore this energy. You love the water energy. You love the power of it. You love the depth of it. You just enjoy, revel and enjoy. If you are feeling that things are getting too deep and you want to take a breath of fresh air, give yourself permission to do that. Change your environment. Just kind of, go and interrupt. Like just be like, oh, I'm going to go do something different. Kind of get away from yourself for a minute because that sometimes can be, it can just be too rich and too heavy. So we want to lighten that up. So those are your intuitive tips for this new moon, because we are in that scorpionic energy and the veil is so incredibly thin. So we're going to do a gorgeous, unbelievable meditation, and we're bringing in the stone of the new month, which is selenite. And selenite is a lunar stone. It's so incredibly powerful. It's filled with water. And if you don't adore the whitish look of selenite, you can bring in peach selenite, which is a little bit more buoyant. It has a little bit of earthly energy into it, so you can kind of come up to the surface and take a breath. So without further ado, we are going to stop with all the words. Our minds have just gotten all this information. But know, as always, I'm speaking to your mind, but I'm also speaking to your heart and your soul and your body. So whatever's landed for you, perfect. Whatever hasn't in your mind, it wasn't meant for it. It was meant for your being. It was meant for your future. It's meant for your past. But here we are in the present moment. And so we're going to close our eyes if we haven't already. We're going to focus our intention inward with our breath. And we're going to envision that we're holding a beautiful selenite, whatever shape, beautiful selenite in front of our belly, in front of our sacral chakra. We're just going to breathe for a minute or two. I'd love for you to feel your hands. I'd love for you to feel your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your diaphragm, your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. Back to your hands, really gorgeously. Thoughts become things. So we're going to activate those beautiful manifestation chakras you have in the power of your hands and at the bottom of your feet. So every time you step and every time you reach out for something, you can help with your manifestation. Coming back up your arms, over your elbows, into your shoulders, up into your jawline, cheekbones, forehead. Very rich from a flesh and a blood and a bone energy. It's a very healing time. Selenite is beautifully healing. So if there's any healing that you want to do with your body, we're going to pause. We're going to think about that selenite being absorbed through your skin, into the dermis, into the tissues, into the joints, into the blood, your veins or your arteries, into the muscles, ligaments, into the blood itself, into the cells, into the oxygen in the blood, going into each one of the cells. You have selenite right there. Selenite is incredibly healing. It helps release any tightness, any soreness, any pain. It helps release any illness, any disease. And you can feel anything that you want to remove or release going into the selenite and then having it come up through the dermis, up through your skin, up out of your auric field, about 8 feet, 9 feet around you, and then going out and being transmuted into the world, turning into beautiful white light. It no longer belongs to you. You no longer need it. And so with an inhale and an exhale, we release. Another inhale and an exhale. We use the still point of the new moon to just have it cascade, flow. We use that water to flow it out. And then with the space that we have, we then can bring this cleansed selenite back, or maybe that peach selenite. We can have that come into our auric layers, from our spiritual to our celestial, to our mental, into our emotional, into our etheric and our physical, and then into our body. Pure health, wondrous potential, beautiful alignment, synchronized prosperity, freedom, joy, love, abundance, happiness, strength, power. Beautifully breathing that in. And just sitting for a moment and enjoying, basking, bathing luxuriating in this moment of self-care and healing. Breathing in the richness of the cosmic power. Breathing in the purity of the earthly experience filled with health and well-being. Breathing in our intentions, opening ourselves up to our inner guidance and our intuition. Saying yes to opening fully to ourselves with this big, huge month of growth. Starting here with these gorgeous magic cosmic triangles. The magical one, the truthful one, the powerful one. Filling ourselves up for the love of ourselves deep at midnight and the joy of ourselves high at noon. And having that beautiful alignment with our full potential, our true purpose, our innate power, and our infinite prosperity. Taking another moment or two to breathe all this in. Let it soak. Let it seal. Let it soothe. And as we're ready to re-enter our day, we're going to give great gratitude to the selenite, to our health, to our flesh, to our bodies, to our bones, to our beautiful higher selves and our souls, to the sun and the moon and all the stars, to the earth herself, to the magical power of the universe, and to our inner knowing, our inner voice, our inner guidance. This is a happy, beautifully supported time filled with power. So let's tap in. Let's remember. Let's access and reclaim ourselves fully. And as we do, let's take another nice deep breath in. And then exhale. Opening our eyes if we haven't already. Wiggling our fingers and our toes, maybe rubbing our hands together. Allowing ourselves to come fully in. Beautifully breathing. Gorgeously aligned. Maybe shaking our hands a little bit. Feeling the space. Intentionally filling that with ourselves. Opening your eyes fully. Take a drink of water. Write down anything you'd like to write down before you enter your day. And welcome. Welcome to this new magical new moon, new year, new era energy. Until next time, happy soul tidings. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more ways to use the stars strategically to align with your soul purpose, reclaim your power, and increase your prosperity. Please rate and review your favorite episodes, and remember to check out my website at kimwoods.com for my latest forecasts, articles, and offerings. To find out your intuitive success signature, take my 12-question Do You Know, Like, and Trust Yourself quiz and find out how you're living your stars at yourstarmaptosuccess.com. I've so enjoyed our time together as it's filled with the power of the stars plus strategy to clear the pathway to your success. Until next time, happy soul tidings.